And that brings us to our discussion agenda. Item number 19, the textbook adoptions for 17-18 shown in Exhibit I. Somebody going to lead us? I know.
Yes, sir, that'd be me. Thank you, Chairman Gant. Board members, in Exhibit I, you're going to see a lot of information as we prepare for the coming academic year. I'd like to remind everyone the funds that we use to purchase textbooks are funds provided by the State Department of Education through South Carolina funding through the General Assembly. And I have to pause before we go through this information to thank many of the people from the instructional team who have been involved with this. We're bringing to you tonight 20 subjects and 59 titles. We have implemented the policy to make sure that we've included teachers in the process, to make sure that parents have had an opportunity to preview the materials, but most importantly, to make sure that we have looked carefully at the decisions that we've made that we're bringing forward to you tonight. So I have to say thank you to the instructional team over to the far right, of my far right. Dr. Gates from the center has led the efforts there for us looking at our CAPE programs. Ms. Boysono has led for our math program. Ms. Boland has led for science, health, and PE. Ms. Sanford has led for social studies, and then Dr. Cox not only is our ELA coordinator, but also has the luxury of being our textbook coordinator. So all this has been under the careful eye of Dr. Cox as she has worked with the other coordinators and with Dr. Gates to make sure that we bring to you information that is vetted by our teachers and we feel is the best choice. One of the things that I have heard as we prepare for this evening's event is to make sure that I share with you all our teachers are pleased with these recommendations because they find this is a balance of resources between some traditional models but also some technology and some up-to-date opportunities that they can see. So they feel like that these are the best choices that we can make that fit our instructional program and also match our instructional vision. So if you have any specialized questions about any of these titles, we can bring any of these folks to the microphone because they have certainly been involved with lots of conversations and investigations about the recommendations we're bringing to you tonight. So, Mr. Gant.
Mr. Cates, you have a question?
I was waiting for your staff to come wheeling all of these titles in.
They have been very busy, as have their secretaries.
And we
very
appreciate the work.
I have to say thank you
had the
to them
chance
as well.
to serve on some of those committees, and thank you. I know you've put in a long hours and looked at a lot of materials. This is not a question per each title by any means, but is there a way to highlight or maybe emphasize better the text use of technology?
Okay.
It does show up, you know, when we're talking about other instructional supplements. But if going forward there was a way to kind of put a little more focus on that as we move forward and hope one day the state will catch up with our vision of being able to use technology in the classroom, I think it would be helpful to know which of those texts would best, and I have no recommendation on how to do that. I apologize. I don't like to bring up a problem and not offer a solution, but somehow or another just to be able to emphasize the technology resources and value of each of those texts. Thank you so much for your hard work. We appreciate it.
With your permission, what I'll do is I'll go back and have our team convene once we've settled all this because I need to finish this chapter of work for them. So maybe perhaps towards the summer we can go back and look at this and bring forward because this form is in compliance with our board policy to make sure that the information we bring to you is the information that the board was looking for. So then perhaps we could share with you a draft of revisions that we might suggest. You can imagine any template that was created in 2013 isn't necessarily up to date with what we do now with technology, but we can certainly do that to make sure that you all have a better highlight as to what the resources are that are available through each of these recommendations that we're bringing to you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hammond.
I have one quick question. Are most of these texts, do most of them have the books online if the kids want it? That'd be my only question, and that's awesome because these kids don't want to take those books back and forth.
That's right.
So if it's on that tablet or they can access with their computer at home, we get them to read it.
Absolutely.
That's all I want to know.
Any other questions? Mr. White.
I've got just a very simple question to follow up on what Ms. Hammond said, but is it, and I'm sort of showing my age here, but I always prefer a book, you know, but do these kids really like things like chemistry and stuff like that? Are these really effective for using on their electronic devices? I mean, can they be just as effective in the more technical stuff? It's just not reading that does it really
They're tech savvy.
replace the tech?
They really are. It's kind of sad, because I mean, I don't think it's gonna ever replace books. I didn't mean it, but I would tell you, just, it's amazing how so many of them want it. They want to read it on their, you know, they don't want to hold the book.
I think it's a generational thing.
It is,
I mean,
that's what I mean, it's hard for me.
At work, you know, everything goes online, but I still like to have
The
a
whole
book
thing.
sometimes. You know, you can flip and turn and look.
Well, my teachers over here that would attest to this, so many times, there are a few kids that want a paper copy.
That's right.
Or I do, because I am generational, and I'm older than Ed. Not a lot, Ed, but you really have to acquiesce to what motivates them. I mean, you've got, you know, and I hate it, but they don't want to write longhand. They want to type their things. They want to type their essay. Ms. Hammond, can I type my paragraph? And then they can pop it to me. And so it is generational, and it's good we've got these, you know, it really takes a teacher or leaders like you guys that have been in the classroom and then you're in there visiting to know that we've got to address these changes. And believe me, they know lots more than somebody. They show me how to do most of the stuff.
Mr. White, I think it goes back to learning style and learning preference. We do have some students that still prefer a hard traditional textbook. I am proud to say that our teachers make sure that we offer a balance. So the textbook isn't the only resource we use. You're going to see students in labs. You're going to see kids having hands-on opportunities, engage with discussions and project-based learning opportunities. So this is a supplement. This is not the only resource, of course, that we use, as you all have already learned about our instructional program, but we just want to make sure we find the right complement to our instructional program. So whatever textbook we bring forward to you are the ones that we feel like are best aligned with our instructional vision, and our teachers have approved, in a sense, for us to go to the next stage. Our teachers have been involved with statewide caravans and have traveled around the state to go out to see for themselves and to hear the publisher do their sales pitch with all the bells and whistles. But they look beyond that to make sure what's chosen is truly what's going to be the right fit for our students. So yes, you're going to have some that want the traditional textbook. Others are going to want to do it online. It just depends on what that student needs, or maybe the content of where they're most comfortable. So it's just going to depend student to student.
Mr. Hawthorne.
I think you used a great term just now in explaining this, and that's balance. Everything should be balanced.
Absolutely.
I mean, you should never be too far to the left or too far to the right with anything you do, life or anything like that. Balance is very important, because
Absolutely.
what suits me may not suit you.
That's right.
And you have to have that degree of balance in there. That's a great word.
I want to say I appreciate the work of the committee. I was just looking through, almost all of this is in the higher levels, 9 through 12, and I'm going to just think out loud a little bit. I pick up a lot of days, or if I don't, my wife does, a fifth grader. And we talk about that book bag all the time. And I've been reassured, Papa, I'm getting rid of things in that bag. I've taken things, but it's really way over bounds. I'm worried about bags. We've been talking about this in this district for years.
Trouble.
And Ms. Jakes, I bet you deal with the same thing. But Dr. Jakes, anyway, help us there too, because I'm worried about those little formative backs that are carrying some really, really, and it's, you said this too, Dr. Melton, it's an individual thing.
It is.
Some of them want every book, every
Right.
paper, and they want it with them. They want
That's
it
right.
day
At all
with them.
times. That's right.
And
That's
others
right.
don't, but honestly, I want to help encourage them to lighten up on their backs a little bit.
And we have some teachers that encourage their students to leave the textbook at home to use as a resource because, of course, not all students have internet access at home. You can use your device while you're at District 5. If you've chosen a District 5 device, you can get on easily to use the resources that we have. But sometimes it's still letting go of that textbook and not feeling like you have to bring it in every day. If you come to Crossroads, I'm sure Mr. Hutchison and his administrative team will tell you, kids are carrying a lot of things on their back that they don't necessarily need, but they've got it with them just in case they need it. So our students they're pleasers. They want to make sure overall that they have the things that they need and that they're prepared to learn and be successful.
We thank you for your efforts on this.
Absolutely.
Well, that will bring us to, let's see, that's our discussion items. Anything you want to share with us other than this informational? We've got it in our informational items. Anything you want to share there?
Obviously, with your ESOL budget, this is a report we owe you annually to make sure that you see how these federal funds are being used to reach our English as second language speakers. And then Exhibit K, last year we spent an extensive amount of time trying to make sure that you were comfortable with the understanding Read to Succeed legislation that was recently passed in South Carolina. We did get some reprieve. In the last year, we had to have 7 goals that were put into effect for this school year, this academic year. But as we look forward to the 17-18 school year, we were given permission to reduce the number of goals from 7 to 2 or 3. We took the option to reduce. We thought 7 was too many to monitor. So again, Dr. Cox has been involved with that initiative. We've made sure that we've scaled back. One of our 2 goals that you see is district-led, to make sure that the instructional team and I are responsible for leading quality professional development to prepare our teachers to reach our students, to make sure that all students are reading on grade level. The second goal that you're going to see is the professional development goal. We've outlined targets for our schools based on some internal analysis. What are some areas that our schools need to work towards to make sure we're improving professional development to meet the needs of our students? This is based upon their responses to us after their self-analysis. So rather than saying the school could choose any idea of any topic for reading instruction and for the professional development of that, we've given them some targets to make sure that we've focused them a little differently. We had a committee that involved principals at all levels, coordinators from my department. It was a holistic conversation to make sure that we were looking at things across the system, including special services, including our gifted and talented, and of course our ESOL, in addition to our regular education curriculum content coordinators. So those are for you just to know. We're submitting those to the State Department. But these are goals that you've approved last year. We've just reduced 5 of the goals that we're not going to carry forward after we close them out at the end of this academic year. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer if needed.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Baumgartner,
I move that we adjourn.
have a second? Ms. Hammond, all those in favor? We thank you all very much for being here and your inputs. Thank you.